Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Power Hungry Podcast. I'm Robert Bryce. Today, a power brief and just 5 minutes or so on what's going on with the Renewable Rejection Database and updates on the Renewable Rejection Database. On May 5th, commissioners in Crawford County, Ohio, voted to reject a proposed wind project that marks the 330th time that wind projects have been rejected or restricted across the U.S. Since 2015. The rejections have happened from Maine to Hawaii. Now, you won't read about this. I've reported this many times. You won't read about it in the New York Times. You certainly won't read about it in the National Public Radio or the Washington Post. But the reality is that these land use conflicts across the country are already hindering the growth of renewables, both wind and solar. 330 rejections of wind, and by my count now, 37 rejections of solar since 2019 in the Renewable Rejection Database, which you can see on my website, robertbryce.com. But a couple of points about why this matters, why this 330th rejection matters. Well, it matters now because the wind industry is desperately trying to get yet another extension of the production tax credit. This is the subsidy, call it what it is, that has been driving the growth of the wind industry since the beginning. It's a decades-old subsidy. It's been extended 13 times, but it expired in January. So now Big Wind and the American Clean Power Association are pushing furiously, lobbying in Congress to get yet another extension of the production tax credit because the wind industry is now in free fall. Because without the subsidies, they do not build wind projects. That bottom line. For all this talk about, wind and solar are cheaper, the reality is they have always been dependent on subsidies and mandates, and the subsidies have been the key driver. Why does it matter? Well, so now the lobbying is going on. Second, this is the most expensive energy-related provision in the federal tax code. This decade alone, the wind energy business will collect something on the order of $34 billion in tax credits because of the production tax credit. And companies like NextEra Energy, the biggest producer of renewable energy in the world, are feeding at the trough. The financial statements of NextEra Energy, they have $4.6 billion in tax credit carryforwards on their financial statements. NextEra Energy does. So this is critically important to them. And of course, they want federal tax dollars. They don't want to spend their own money. But this is colliding with the reality on the ground in places like Crawford County. So it matters because obviously this effort to get more tax subsidies. And second, it matters because it shows yet again, for the 330th time, that local communities don't want large-scale renewable projects in their neighborhoods. So I want to read very quickly, I'm going to keep this power brief to less than 5 minutes, this article that was in the Bucyrus Telegraph-Forum, published on May 5th, Wind Farm Opponents Celebrate Commissioner's Vote. It's written by Jerry Goebel. I think I have her first name correct. A 20-second ovation followed Crawford County Commissioner's vote to restrict industrial wind farm development in all unincorporated areas of the county, with members of Crawford Anti-Wind rising to their feet. The resolution passed 2-1 at a regular meeting on Thursday, effectively bars construction of Honey Creek Wind, Apex Clean Energy's 300-megawatt industrial wind farm, at least for now. If you remember, Apex Clean Energy has a bad reputation in New York State for its efforts to push through the Lighthouse Wind Project near the towns of Yates and Somerset. That project was opposed by both Yates and Somerset and 3 counties, and that project has apparently now been suspended. The article goes on. Many of the 50-plus people who crowded into the lower-level conference room at the county administration building wore Crawford Anti-Wind's signature yellow shirts. Group members circulated petitions seeking a ban on wind farm development, attended countless public meetings across the county, and organized anti-wind information sessions. Member Paula Eiler said she was proud of the commissioner's vote. We're sustaining our schools without money from Apex. We're a farming community, and we want to promote farming, not wind turbines. There's a place for them, but that's not in this community. This is the reality in rural America. And the reality in rural America is that they are pushing back hard against the encroachment of big wind and big solar. As I said, in the Renewable Rejection Database, which I'm updating regularly, I do it because I have the bit in my teeth on this issue. W. Edwards Deming said, in God we trust, all others bring data. Well, I have the database. You can look at it on my website, robertbryce.com. The wind industry, the solar industry have never challenged my numbers, never challenged the database. They don't want to talk about this. But the reality is that land use conflicts are the binding constraint And the Crawford County vote is just one of many, one of hundreds now, that it shows that rural Americans don't want these projects in their neighborhoods. But don't count on the Sierra Club or Natural Resources Defense Council or the New York Times to report on this because it doesn't fit the narrative. But that's the reality. So the end of this power brief now. Just wanted to bring this to your attention. I wrote about this last week in Real Clear Energy on May 20th. I published a piece about this. You can find that at realclearenergy.com. But wanted to update you on what is actually happening. 330 communities, 330 examples of wind energy rejections across the country since 2015. That's the real story. The numbers don't lie. So thanks for tuning in to this power brief. Until next time, see ya.